twice in the prophets that they are saying that from Jerusalem the words of God will go out. The main question is, from where did they took it? What is the source that from Jerusalem everything will go out? They're saying this thing that Jerusalem is so important. And Jerusalem is only a place or more than that.
And it shall be at the end of the days that the mountain of the Lord's house shall be firmly established at the top of the mountains, and it shall be raised above the hills, and all the nations shall stream to it. And many people shall go, and they shall say, Come, let us go up to the Lord's mount, to the house of the God of Jacob, and let him teach us of his ways, and we will go in his paths. For out of Zion shall the Torah come forth, and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem.
We see that straight after God is creating man in Genesis, God is also speaking with him. And this is teaching us that God is not in a confrontation with the human, but more he is looking for partnership, that someone will take on his shoulders to continue to finish, to progress the creation of God and to bring it to the highest level. And who is he taking? He is taking men that have the human, that have sense, that understand things. It's interesting to say that the word mitzvah, commandment, in the Hebrew language, it's also coming from the word team. We're becoming a team of God. We are togetherness with God, managing to come to the target that God put in front of us. What exactly the target? To become holiness. I am holiness, and you need to be like me, holiness. And this is by being partnership with God. So first of all, the main part is by having the connection. Not a connection like in the Muslim world of demolishing men, and if he doesn't believe, to kill him, to burn him, to do whatever it is, that he is not supposed to be in this world. Not a connection of, once a week I will give something to God. But a full connection to bring this world to the holiness, to the stage, to the league that human being is on the seventh day. And then God will say, it was night, it was day, there were holiness people, and we can continue to the eighth day. By the way, why did Bishop Stephen Langdon decided to separate the seventh day from the 6 days? But let's go back to our main issue. The Bible and the Torah is the wish and will of God, not a history book, not a smart book like the old Greeks thought. It is specifically the exposing the wish of God to the most unique thing in this world, to the human being, who have also mind inside their heads and trying to look for meaning for the things that we are doing. To put meaning in our life and to expose the wish, the will of God, there are two conditions. The first one is the place that God chosen to expose himself. And the second condition is the judge, the rabbinical people in the days of your generation.
If a matter eludes you in judgment, between blood and blood, between judgment and judgment, or between legion and legion, words of dispute in your cities, then you shall rise and go up to the place the Lord, your God, chooses. And you shall come to the Levitic Kohanim and the judge who will be in those days, and you shall inquire, and they will tell you the words of judgment. And you shall do according to the word they tell you, from the place the Lord will choose, and you shall observe to do according to all they instruct you. According to the law, they instruct you, and according to the judgment they say to you, you shall do, you shall not divert from the word they tell you, either right or left. And the man who acts intentionally, not obeying the Kohen who stands there to serve the Lord, your God, or to the judge, that man shall die, and you shall abolish evil from Israel. And all the people shall listen in fear and no longer act wantonly.
And there is a very big need to this specific mitzvah commandment that we've learned in the verses before, for having, I will say, those two elements for saving or explaining the will of God. Because the Bible was given to us in written, and opinion will not be equal in all for all newborn things. And people will think differently. And it will bring to become several Torah. Everybody will argue, this is mine, I'm the most important person here, my way, he will say in his way. So the Torah determined, to listen to the big court in Jerusalem that is standing, presenting itself in the place where God decided, where there is the Holy Spirit of God in this specific place, not in other places. And on this, I will say, set of mind, God gave us the Torah, that when things are renewing, things are coming new to this world, we will be able to decide exactly how to explain the Torah. This is an essential thing for bringing or having the Torah and learning, understanding the will of God. But I want to go one step ahead and to explain that the place is also a question of very deep identity, something very inside. We can see in Psalms a hint for that God is guiding those rabbis.
For the Lord loves justice, and he shall not forsake his pious ones, they will be guarded forever.
But it's more than that, because it's also a question of an internal identity of this place.
There are two quotes from the sages of Israel. In one, they emphasize the concept that halakha is the most sublime pursuit. Since the day the temple, where the divine presence rested in this world, was destroyed, the Holy One, blessed be he, has only one place in his world where he reveals his presence exclusively, only the 4 cubits where the study of halakha is undertaken. We find in another place. Rabbi Elazar said, "Why are these 3 references to Tirzin, Jeremiah 13 verse 17? One is for the first temple, one is for the second temple, and one is for the unavoidable dereliction of the study of Torah in the wake of the exile." What we learn from those 2 statements, if we add them together: only the 4 cubits where the study of halakha is undertaken, and the unavoidable dereliction of the study of Torah. That reducing the Torah to only correct actions. It is an excellent abrogation of the Torah. Why? Since the Torah also includes the intention. Seeking truth answers, genuine faith. No human would like to act like a robot. We have a will and understanding. And we wish to be full partners with God. And this is the complete Torah that comes out of Jerusalem.
And today especially, where we have much more knowledge for the masses than in the times of the big philosophers like Aristotle, his masters, Plato and others, that they knew a lot, those people, but the masses didn't know like today. And the mindset of the Torah, the will of God, contain also faith and understanding and giving meaning to life. And you are more than welcome to join us to the mindset of the will of God that is coming from Jerusalem in the last few decades, since the Hebrew nation came back to their homeland. And the Noahide movement is bringing those mindsets to the world, sharing it with the things that were mainly inside to the Hebrew people. Blessings from Jerusalem. Why did Bishop Stephen Langdon decided to separate the 7th day from the 6 days? In the Hebrew tradition, it's one part, it's one chapter. But it doesn't go well with the belief of the Christians who decided that the Messiah came. Therefore, we are celebrating the 8th day after the 7th day, Sunday. And if you will read the chapter from beginning to the end, you will see the difference between the 7th day that didn't finish and the 6 days that finished. So it will be contradicted to the Christian belief. So let's learn the first chapter and then learn the second chapter, and we will see that we won't do the connection. This is not the first time or the only place where this bishop, Stephen Langdon, in the 12th century decided to split the Bible into chapters in the middle of things. The most, I think, the most known place is in Isaiah chapter 53, that if you will study it like in the Hebrew tradition, 2 verses before chapter 53, you will see that it's all speaking about the Hebrew nation. But then you have no place to say this is a Messiah, Jesus or something like that. So let's study 2 verses after that, and everybody will get confused. Go and read a bit, Isaiah. You will see that he's speaking about the Hebrew nation there. But never mind all these side effects of where to change the places. But it's connected. Why did I remind of this? Because it's connected with the understanding of the Bible.
And it shall be at the end of the days that the mountain of the Lord's house shall be firmly established at the top of the mountains, and it shall be raised above the hills, and all the nations shall stream to it. And many people shall go, and they shall say, Come, let us go up to the Lord's mount, to the house of the God of Jacob, and let him teach us of his ways, and we will go in his paths. For out of Zion shall the Torah come forth, and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem.